Hi guys, today we're going to be reading Thomas Taylor's Malamander. So we're going to be reading chapter 1 together today. And before we start, what I want you to do is to talk to someone in your household or write down on a piece of paper your thoughts and feelings about what you think the book's going to be about, just having a look at the front cover. So have a look at the pictures, what are your thoughts and feelings about it, and have a quick pause here and do that now. Right, so we're going to be reading chapter 1. And in chapter 1, there's some unfamiliar words that we might have not heard of before, and that's okay because once we know what they mean, we can use them in our work later on, which is really helpful. So, let's get started. The Grand Nautilus Hotel. My name's Herbert Lemon, by the way, but most people call me Herbie. I'm the lost and founder at the Grand Nautilus Hotel, as you can see from my cap. Someone once told me that most hotels don't have a lost and founder, but that can't be right. So, a lost and founder is someone who looks after the lost and found items that they have in the hotel. So, if someone loses something, they know exactly where to go because that person will be looking after it for them. So, let's continue. What do they do with all the lost stuff then? And how do people who've lost it get it back? I'm a bit young for such an important job, I suppose. But Lady Kraken herself, the owner of the hotel, gave it to me. Even Mr. Mollusk, the hotel manager, can't argue with that. He'd like to, of course. He hates anything in the hotel that doesn't make money. If he'd had his way, the Lost and Foundry would have been shut down as soon as he became manager. And my little cubbyhole in the reception lobby boarded up for good. A cubbyhole is a small enclosed space or a room, so it's a really small room. And if that had happened, I'd never have met the girl. The girl I found scrabbling through my window. The girl who said, "Hide me! Hide me!" I look her up and down. Well, mostly up, because she's got herself stuck on a window latch, and the cellar windows are near the ceiling. If she's a burglar, she's not a very good one. Please! I get her unstuck, although that means nearly being squashed as she tumbles inside. It's snowing, so a whole lot of winter comes in through the window too. We get to our feet, and now I'm face to face with her. A girl in a ratty pullover with a woolly bobble hat over a mass of curly hair. She looks like she's about to speak, but stops at the sound of raised voices up above. Raised voices that are getting closer. The girl opens her eyes wide with panic. "In here," I whisper, and I pull her over to a large travel trunk that's been in the Lost and Foundry, unclaimed, for decades. Before she can say anything, I shove her inside and close the lid. The voices are right up at my cubbyhole now. The whining, wheedling sound of Mr. Mollusk trying to deal with someone difficult. So, wheedling is when someone uses flattery to persuade someone to do something. So we'll just listen to that part again. The voices are right up at my cubbyhole now. The whining, wheedling sound of Mr. Mollusk trying to deal with someone difficult. I grab a few lost bags, brollies and bits, dump them on top of the trunk and hope they look as if they've been there for years. Then the bell on my counter, the one people ring when they want my attention, starts ting 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 like crazy. I straighten my cap, run up the steps to my cubbyhole and turn on my "How may I help you" face, as if nothing strange has just happened at all. Mr. Mollusk is the first person I see, trying to smooth his hair over his bald patch. "I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding," he's spluttering to someone. "If you would just allow me to make inquiries." The someone he is talking to is unlike anyone I've ever met before. It's a man in a long black sailor's coat that's sodden with water. He looms over the desk like a crooked monolith. So a monolith is a single large upright block of wood. That's our noun. It's a big block of wood that's a stone that's upright. His face a dismal crag. So a crag is a steep or rugged cliff face or rock face. So that's a noun as well. So it's a rock face. His eyes beneath the peak of a ruined captain's cap. With one stiff finger, he is jabbing the button of my bell like he's stabbing it with a knife. He stops when I arrive and leans in even further, covering me in shadow. Where? He says, in a voice that sounds like two slabs of wet granite being scraped together. Girl, where? So I've got a question here for us to think about. So remember, you've got someone to talk to in your household. That'd be great, so you can discuss that. Or again, write it down on a piece of paper. How do you think the man and the girl know one another? So have a little think about that. Right, let's keep going. I say, clearing my throat and putting on the posh voice Mr. Mollusk expects me to use with guests. To whom may you be referring, sir? The man's mouth, which is nothing more than a wide upside-down V in his dripping bone-yellow beard, opens with a hiss. I notice there is seaweed in that beard, and more tangled around his tarnished brass buttons. He smells like something bad is going to happen. Where? I gulp. Well, I can't help it, can I? I'm just a lost property attendant. I'm not trained for this. My dear sir, purrs the voice of Mr. Mollusk, I'm sure we can sort this out. What exactly have you lost? The man pulls himself back out of my cubbyhole and towers over Mr. Mollusk. He draws his right hand, which has been hidden till now, out of his coat. Mr. Mollusk shrinks back when he sees that where the man's hand should be is a large iron boat hook, ending in a long gleaming spike. So, a boat hook is a long pole which has a hook and a spike at the end. So this is a noun as well. Girl, the man says. Now, the one thing I will say about old Mollusk is that he knows which battles to fight. In this case, since there's no way he can beat this great hulking intruder, he decides to join him instead. He turns on me. Herbert Lemon, have you got a girl down there? Now they're both looming in at me. I shake my head. My "how may I help you" face dissolves, so I try an innocent grin instead. No, I manage to say in a squeaky voice. I hate it when my voice does that. No girls are hiding down here, none at all. And that's when a soft thud down in the basement behind me. That's when there's a soft thud down in the basement behind me. It sounds exactly like someone who is hiding in a travel trunk, trying to make themselves more comfortable. Oops. The bearded sailor opens his mouth in a moan of triumph. His dark eyes flash beneath his cap. He yanks open the door to my cubbyhole and shoves me against the wall as he pushes past. He squeezes down the steps to the cellar, filling the tunnel, his back crooked as he stoops beneath the low ceiling. So we've got another question here, what I want you to think about. So again, write down on a piece of paper or talk to someone in your household about this. Do you think the man seems friendly and nice, or do you think he seems like he's a bit mean? So have a think, why and why not, okay? I want you to explain it as well. Right, let's keep going. I hurry after him. This isn't me being brave, by the way. This is just me not knowing what else to do. The sailor is standing in the middle of the room, filling the space. I see him look at the patch of melted snow beneath the open cellar window. I see him turn his head to follow the wet footprints that lead straight to the travel trunk. The bags and brollies I dumped on it have fallen off. By now there might as well be a big flashing sign over the trunk that says, "Yoo-hoo, she's in here." Mr. Mollusk, rushing down to join the party, sees all this too, and goes crimson with rage. Crimson's just a colour of red, so he's gone red with rage. Herbert Lemon, why I ought to... But what he ought to do, I don't find out, because of what the sailor with a spike for a hand does next. He raises his spike and brings it down with a sickening thud, driving it deep into the lid of the chest. He wrenches it out and then swings again and again. The lid of the trunk splits and sunders with each blow, splinters of wood raining down all around. The trunk itself begins to disintegrate. The man tears the rest of it open with the help of his one good hand to reveal nothing. Well, not quite nothing. There's a very surprised looking spider amongst the wreckage, and a woolly bobbly hat. I watch the spider scurry away and wish I could join it. Now all there is to look at is the hat. It is very definitely the brightly coloured hat that the girl was wearing, but of the girl herself there is no sign. So another question we're going to do now is I want you to think about and write down on a piece of paper or talk to someone in your household. Why do you think the girl is left? Why do you think that has happened? So have a think, have a write down. So have a pause here. Right, brilliant, let's keep going. With a slow, deliberate motion, Boathook Man skewers the hat on the tip of his spike. He turns and holds it out to me, his face like a thundercloud. Somehow I find the courage not to squeak as I reach out and gently take the hat off of him. Just some lost property, I say. It was handed in this morning. I haven't had a chance to label it yet. That's all. There's a moment of silence. Then Boathook Man roars, a great wordless bellow of fury. He starts ransacking my cellar, sweeping his massive arms from side to side. I fall back on the stairs, and as bags, coats, hats, lost thingy and doodahs of every kind, including some that must have been lain undisturbed down here since almost forever, fly about as the man goes berserk trying to find the girl. But he finds no one. She's gone. Right, that's the end of chapter 2, but I've got a question for you again. This is our last question, and I want you to think about and write down again and discuss with anyone if they're with you right now. How would you describe Herbert Lemon's personality so far using 3 adjectives? So I want you to use 3 adjectives. I want you to write them down. Think about how you would describe him. So have a quick look through chapter 2 again. How would you describe him? And that is the end of chapter 2. Well done, guys. You did great. Well done. Right, I can't wait to see what happens in chapter 2. Brilliant.